was the name of the Gedal Yeshua. He came that time. It was the first time that he came to Olateda to approve Olateda as a school of higher learning. And he said that our Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Friedman, could compare himself to all Litvish Gedolim and even more. And also, we had Rabbi Steinwetzel. We had many Gedolim coming inside to give us an approval. Every few years, we had to have an approval. And Baruch Hashem, we came out tops because we had Rabbi Sol, which Rabbi Sol was a Goyin Olam. And I can tell you personally, from my experience, since I knew Rabbi Sol was a very big Goyin, and I wanted that Younger Light was Vilna Abyssal Lebanon, they should learn. So we made every Wednesday night in Olateda, after 8 o'clock, around 8:30, and everybody, we would pick up Rabbi Sol. He would come and he would learn with around 15, 20 in the light. And he learned Arashi and Tesis, and he stood on a word, and he showed the difference between Rashi and Tesis in the terminology, in the expression of a word. And he explained it for an hour, for two. You could see that he was a great, if a man could stop on a word and speak for 2 hours, you can imagine the depth of his learning. And we had in the shurim, we had that he taught one very deep shir, but also some boys said it's very deep for them, so he made another shir, and he gave 2 shiurim over here. And it was super devoted to the children. When other Rosh Yeshivas sit in the chair and they don't wait, they can sit there for an hour, 2 or 3, and nobody comes over to them, and they don't go over to anybody. Rabbi Yisrael had every time 2 boys sitting in front of him, and he changed boys. He called these 2 boys, these chavrusas, and these chavrusas, and he spoke to them about the Shia, and about the Gemara, and about the Tesis, and all the Mefarshim over here. And the boys loved him. He gave himself over to the boys to the highest class. If he saw a boy couldn't afford to buy a pair of good shoes, and he was wearing dirty clothes or ripped clothes, he would go and buy. He had a kupas bakurim. He raised the money. It didn't come from Olateda. He raised the money, and he gave the boys money to buy shoes for Pesach, for a coat, for if he saw a boy go out in the street, he doesn't have a coat over here, and he bought him for a coat. He gave him clothes. He gave him all kinds of things, and they were like his children. And Rosh Yeshiva also. The Rosh Yeshivas that are big balanigla, they know how to learn the Talmud and other things. But Chassidus, they're not sheikhs. I can tell you, Rabbi Yisrael used to chaza in Cheder Shas every Shabbos, a maimah from the Likutei Torah. And I followed him in the Likutei Torah, and he did not fail a word. And he didn't make up his own speeches. He said everything what it was said in the Likutei Torah. And he did it for every Shabbos. Could you imagine a Likutei Torah every Shabbos? And a mimer from Likutei Torah is not one line, it's not one paragraph, it's quite a few paragraphs. And he said, Fabrein, also it's boys. And Rosh Yeshiva, he's not a mashpia, but he is a mashpia. He had a big input into the boys, and when it came to Yom Pagra, he was the one that Fabrein, and also many times boys went to his house to Fabrein. Boys went to his house to sit and learn on a Thursday night or a Mishma, whatever it is over here. It was especially, and it was a very big Yerushalayim. Somebody, a next door neighbor, and a friend of his, and a friend of the Olateda mentioned to me, Rabbi Rosenfeld, Do you know for what Rabbi Saul passed away? He did not pass away from corona. He passed away because from starvation. He didn't want to eat anything from the hospital, and he asked they should bring him a plate of soup. They said, we cannot bring inside any other food, only what we have over here. And he did not eat, and he passed away. They say from starvation. He was a person, a very big Yerushalayim. And then after that, I want to tell you, I davened many times in Chever Shas. He davened there every day. And he did not daven like with the minyan. He came with the minyan, but he davened barichas later. When everybody went home, he was still there davening. He was a Yerushalayim, a Oived Elokim, and a Mashpia, and anything. It was a jack of all trades from a Chassidish respect. I can tell you, this is the biggest Aveda amongst Lubavitch. Lubavitch International, not national, international. Lubavitch International, Rabbi Saul was one of the biggest Gedolim what Lubavitch had in this era. And we can be proud of it. There are many yeshivas and many institutions. I can mention, I'll only mention two, but there's many, many more. Chicago and Baltimore. Every one of the yeshivas are Talmidim from Rabbi Yisrael, from Alatera, and many other institutions. I haven't got the time to enumerate everybody, but I can tell you that he brought up, he was the epitome from Alatera. He was the pride of Alatera, and Chaval ad Avdim v'lo mishtakim, and state achai hitnas libay. We are listening. We should give our attention to what kind of person we had in our midst. We should learn from him, and we should become more Talmidei Chachamim, to sit and learn, to be devoted, to be kind to somebody else, to be a Yerushalayim, to daven barichas, to farbring, to be a Chassidish Yid. By the Rebbe's farbringen, he used to sit upstairs, right next to the Rebbe, over here on the table, on the corner of the table over here. And he knew every farbringen, and he knew that he could chaza, he could chaza the farbringen, and he had a fantastic memory, a fantastic expression, how to explain things over here. Und Chaval ad Avdim v'lo mishtakim, Yehi Zichri Baruch, und soll sein ein guter Better für Klal Yisrael, für Prat Yisrael, für Alatera, für alle seine Talmidim. Soll und beten, klappen auf die Tiere von Mashiach. Und Mashiach soll kommen now.